The noble Duke of York, he had 10,000 men, he marched them up to the top of the hill, and he marched them down again. Now when you're up, you're up, and when you're down, you're down, but when you're only halfway up, you're neither up nor down. And then there is a second verse, a-hunting we will go, a-hunting we will go, we'll catch a fox, put him in a box, and we'll never let him go.
A game for children? No. This was entertainment for everyone in the early 1800s, and these play parties can still be enjoyed at the Homeplace in the southern portion of Tennessee's land between the lakes. The Homeplace is a living history working farm and museum where members of a theoretical farm family, dressed in clothing of the period, carry out the daily chores, but they also take time to explain to visitors what farm life was like in 1850 and before. This is Lynn Folk for Tennessee Kaleidoscope with Ron Westphal, farm manager, who characterizes one of the brothers in this farm family. We talked about music, dancing, and the social life of the period, and a social event which is a present-day, ongoing activity at the Homeplace.
Our Evening at the Homeplace program, we do one each month on the Saturday night closest to the full moon, because that gives us a little more light out on the farm. We don't have great batteries of electric lights out there. It's all candlelit, but it is essentially it's a social evening. People who come and participate in the Evening at the Homeplace program are prepared to go out and have a social evening with the farm family. We do storytelling. If we have someone in the group who can pick out a tune on a dulcimer or a banjo or a fiddle player, they will usually play a tune or two for us. We sometimes even do a little dancing. Everyone in this part of the country didn't dance in the 1850s. There was some concern about having the devil's instrument, the fiddle, around and getting up and dancing to that. One of the things they did instead were called play parties, which is essentially a dance without music. And there are large collections of these play party tunes, and each tune has a dance step that goes with it. We're all familiar with them. We may not realize it. Children in kindergarten or preschool, whatever, play Farmer in the Dell, Ring Around the Rosie. These are essentially play party tunes, and they were primarily a social activity for younger people, older ones too, to get together for a social evening. This is the way the boys met the girls. If your family frowns upon you going to a dance, well then it was all right to go to a play party, and this is where you made your social contacts and look for your prospective spouse at these play parties. They're a lot of fun. We do the Noble Duke of York, which many of us are probably familiar with the tune, but there is a dance step very reminiscent of a Virginia reel that goes with that. That's one of them that we do. The Noble Duke of York, he had 10,000 men, he marched them up to the top of the hill, and he marched them down again. Now when you're up, you're up, and when you're down, you're down, but when you're only halfway up, you're neither up nor down. And as you're doing this, there are certain steps. Essentially, you line up, men on one side, ladies on the other, and the head couple starts out, they join hands, and they sashay down the line and back up, and then they do a spin down and back to the head of the line. And technically, you're supposed to go through the Duke of York verse twice, and then you do the Hunting We Will Go verses, and you just simply turn to the outside, come down to the end of the line, and turn back up. And the first couple make a bridge, and everybody goes under it. And you just keep repeating the verses until everybody has gone through the line. And it's very much like a Virginia reel. The more people you have, the longer the set is, and the more fun it is, because you keep going faster and faster as you're singing the songs. You get dizzy after a while going up and down the line. It's a lot of fun.
You have a lot of people come from all around, I would think, to be a part of this.
This is a pre-registered program for us here at the Homeplace. They're limited to 30 people for these Evening at the Homeplace programs. So the first 30 people that sign up come out, and quite often we will draw people from our campgrounds here at LBL. So we'll have people from as far away as Chicago or New York or California. We also draw a lot of local people too. We have some people that are almost members of the family that they come back so often because they enjoy the good time that we have with it.
Entertainment and a social evening, as it was in Tennessee in the early 1800s, which can still be enjoyed at TVA's living working farm, the Homeplace, from March through November each year. Heard here, Ron Westphal, farm manager. This program, made possible with the joint support of the National Endowment for the Arts, the Tennessee Arts Commission, and the WPLN Foundation. This is Lynn Folk.
I'm what you call an art historian. That's to say, I have developed my critical faculties by seeing practically all European museums, most European towns. I'm an art critic. I don't paint. I cannot paint. I leave that to people who are more gifted than I am. Everybody has his own special gifts. Mine are the gift of enjoyment, because art has enriched my life in a tremendous manner.
Art historian Dr. Simonetta de Vries, born in Holland near The Hague. As a young girl, she lived in Berlin. She went to school in Switzerland, and for years she traveled throughout all of Europe, especially enjoying the brilliance of the French Riviera. And later she worked in Italy, in Florence, at the Uffizi Palace and the Pitti Palace. And now she lives in Cornersville, Tennessee, near Lewisburg. She brings her art expertise and knowledge to Tennesseans through lectures at the universities and at fine arts centers. This is Lynn Folk for Tennessee Kaleidoscope with Simonetta de Vries, who is convinced that communicating your knowledge and feelings about art is most important and wonderful, and that she does in her own individual and delightful style.
I don't need to paint to enjoy art, to enjoy beauty. I have a phenomenal memory, I'm lucky to say, and I can think back of museums and paintings I saw 50, 60 years ago. No, let's say it's 50. And for example, the museum in Berlin, I still can go through it as I did 50 years ago. You know where all the paintings are and where all the sculpture is. And the same for the Museum of Vienna, the Uffizi. The museums I saw, I didn't see them once. I saw them, I don't know, many times. And the landscapes and the churches. I can at will summon up memories and visions of things I saw still today, as if I'd seen them yesterday. But that is my job. That is the training of an art historian, the memory.
And you're sharing that with so many people here in Tennessee.
That's what I want. When you say that, you make me very happy.
Simonetta de Vries is especially interested in modern art now, and one of her slide lectures features the abstract art from the museum in Cuenca, Spain.
The name of the town was Cuenca, and the museum was the Museum of Abstract Art. People from all over Europe come there to see the abstract art. Americans, but of course most of all Spanish. I was interested and I specialized more or less in abstract and also in modern art, generally modern art, I must say, because after all we live in our time. And it is absolutely ridiculous to be always turned back to the past. We live now. We must enjoy what is given us now. And I know that many people can't see what is so special about it, can't even realize it. And that makes me all the more anxious to explain and to communicate what it is about. Because art has become really, like everything else, has become very specialized. But everybody can enjoy art. Only you must open your spirit. You must open your mind, your eyes, your being to appreciate all those things. There are so many beautiful things in life. And to close yourself towards anything beautiful is to miss a lot.
Art historian Simonetta de Vries, now a resident of Cornersville, Tennessee. This program, Tennessee Kaleidoscope, made possible with the joint support of the National Endowment for the Arts, the Tennessee Arts Commission, and the WPLN Foundation. This is Lynn Folk.
home, the smelling biscuits on the stove. Coming home is that simple country music that I love. Get ready, Tennessee, I'm coming home.
The city of Gallatin, Tennessee now has an official flag, designed especially for Homecoming 86 by artist Kenneth Henley, whose award-winning design resulted in a handsome prize for him, plus great personal satisfaction. This is Lynn Folk for Tennessee Kaleidoscope. At Gallatin's Main Street Festival, I talked with Kenneth Henley at the booth where his paintings were on display, along with the prize-winning flag.
The Chamber of Commerce began a competition or contest open to Gallatin and area artists to compete in the flag design for the city. And so I entered that. I think I was about the third entry. And a month or so later, I got a call from the Chamber of Commerce secretary, and she said that unanimously they chose mine as being the outstanding flag. And the prize was $1,000, and of course that came in handy. And a lady here in town actually made the flag from the design, and then had flags printed, screen printed from that, which they sell. And it's quite an honor. I've had a lot of good response from it all.
I'm sure you have.
It is blue and white. It has the City Hall, the seal of the city, which is actually the City Hall, and it has the name Gallatin written out in letters, which is unique to most flags. The blue and white are the city colors, which at the time I really did not know. It just worked out that way. The orange and blue complement one another on the color wheel, so I chose those. I went to the local library and checked every flag of every nation and of every state of our union, and the one thing that I determined through all of that was that all flags are real simple. At the most 3 colors, not much more, and not very involved, because if they're flying, you know, you're not going to be able to look at everything on there. So it had to be something that would stand out and catch the eye with color and with simplicity, and I think we've captured that.
You have a date on there also.
Yes, ma'am, that's the date that Gallatin was instituted as a city.
And what is the date? 1802, I think.
Yes, ma'am, it was 1802.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, Ken, and some of the other work that you do.
My art pursuits began as a young child. My mother used to paint, and when she didn't have brushes, she would paint with Q-tips. I pursued art in school, and it seemed like every time the bulletin board outside our room was to be decorated at Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, I was always chosen to do it. So I had a real desire as a child to pursue art, and through high school and did well in art and in some competition, and went on to school and studied commercial art within the television and visual art curriculum. And after that, I went on to work in television and worked there for about 5 years, and worked a lot in the art department and with the production department concerning set design and all. I had a tremendous opportunity to meet and to study somewhat under a fellow by the name of Gene Payne, who won the 1968 Pulitzer Prize for editorial cartooning. And he taught me of some of the caricatures, or how to do caricatures that I have here today. After that, I studied under a fellow by the name of Doug Marlette, who does the kudzu cartoon in the Tennessean paper.
Do you have a studio here? I see all of your paintings and all. You must have a studio and an art career here in Gallatin then.
I work out of my home, which is a good place. It's difficult at times having children swing on your drawing table, but I do work out of my studio at home. I do freelance portrait paintings, caricatures. I do cartoons for the newspaper too, for their football playoffs and stuff. And right now I'm getting more and more into just painting.
Artist Kenneth Henley, originally from North Carolina, now a Tennessean and winner of a competition for the design of the official flag of Gallatin, one of the pilot communities for Tennessee Homecoming 86. This program, Tennessee Kaleidoscope, made possible with the joint support of the National Endowment for the Arts, the Tennessee Arts Commission, and Johnson & Higgins, insurance brokers and employee benefit consultants. This is Lynn Folk.
It opens up the possibility for people who have never really developed their artistic talent or an interest in art, people who are accountants and mechanics and lawyers and teachers who are not really interested in becoming artists but are interested in seeing what they can do with drawing, all have access to that through this right brain development technique.
Functions of the right brain and the left, as applied to art, are researched in the 1979 Betty Edwards book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. Here on Tennessee Kaleidoscope, Tennessee artist and teacher Sharon Orr discusses material in the book which she applies to her classes, where certain exercises and techniques result in stimulating the creative and intuitive response. This is Lynn Folk with Sharon Orr, as we talked about the benefits for art students from this method.
What it's about is learning how to see rather than learning how to draw. We don't see things as they are. We see what we think they are, which is what our left brain does. The way the left brain draws a chair is to put a square down with 4 equal legs, which, as we know, when we do that on the paper, we go, well, that's not a chair, but the left brain thinks that's a chair. It's the right brain that can see that if you're almost at eye level to the seat of the chair, it's almost flat, almost a straight line. And the left brain can't see that. So what we need to do is to do exercises and techniques that let go of the left brain. It's not that the left brain is bad. It's just that it doesn't do certain tasks very well. So if we can let that part of our brain go and kind of put it in a parenthesis for the period of time that we're drawing or dreaming or visualizing or in some way being creative, intuitive, then the right brain has a chance to take over. It's real good at spatial relationships. It can see how one thing relates to another thing very well. And it also is a connector. It connects patterns. Visually, it's an excellent processor. And the left brain is so dominant that what it wants to do is to just take over, even though it doesn't do that well. The right brain is not verbal. We call it the subdominant side of the brain. In fact, that's not true. They're equal. It's just that we have the left so fully developed.
Do you have to be in a right brain space in order to do your artistic work?
That's hard to say. You have to do anything. You naturally do get into it. A real simplified way of looking at it is that the left brain is our critical evaluative function, and the right brain has our creative intuitive function. Both of them, of course, are important to creating anything, whether it's dinner or a business or a piece of art. But you can't have them both on at the same time, because the critical evaluative function will kill whatever's happening in the right brain, which is creative, because the right brain comes up with all kind of crazy ideas, impractical ideas, foolish ideas. The right brain likes to explore and wonder and see what will happen. The left brain wants to know right now whether it's the right answer or not. So what we need to do is to just put in parenthesis that evaluative function for the time being, so that the creative can come and be in the creative for an hour or 2 hours or maybe a week. And then once all those creative ideas come out, we can then switch back over into the left brain function, which will evaluate the ideas. The left brain functions as the boundary system, so that anyone can feel really safe letting the right brain flow, because once the flow has come, then the left brain can put a boundary around that flow. The creative process is a whole brain process. There are 6 steps that have been identified in the creative process. 4 out of the 6 steps are right brain, and there are 2 that are left brain. It's real important that we have that left brain in there to do those 2 steps. Otherwise, we only have part of it, and we need to complete it with the left brain.
Sharon Orr discussing the enhancement of creativity and artistic confidence from the practice of drawing on the right side of the brain. The book of the same title by Betty Edwards is well known to artists and art teachers. This program, Tennessee Kaleidoscope, made possible with the joint support of the National Endowment for the Arts, the Tennessee Arts Commission, and the WPLN Foundation. This is Lynn Folk.
The mountains in East Tennessee attract 9 million people annually. And then Memphis is now getting a lot of attention due to the fact that Beale Street has been refurbished. And Graceland, the home of Elvis Presley, it's attracting over 3,000 people a day in the summer. It's probably the hottest attraction there is in Tennessee right now. And these people come from not only all over the United States, but from Europe, Canada, and many overseas countries.
Commissioner of Tourist Development John Wade, mentioning some well-known tourist attractions in the state. But how about the arts? Do Tennessee arts attract tourists? This is Lynn Folk for Tennessee Kaleidoscope with Commissioner Wade in his office, where we discussed a new relationship between tourism and the arts, and a computer touch-and-go system which informs the tourist where things are, and something else, an arts brochure to be distributed nationwide in the near future. But for now, art is the main attraction for only a few of the millions of people who come here each year.
We certainly value the people that do come to take advantage of some of the things that we have to offer in the arts field. Not only art, but the historic places such as the Hermitage that has a tremendous impact on tourism in Tennessee. We have just recently worked out a deal with the Hermitage, and Ms. Reed, who is the regent there, was very complimentary of our department in saying that they had had so much response from our touch-and-go system. The touch-and-go system is a computer that we have in all of our welcome centers, and you go up and you'll say, point to historical spots, you point that out, you punch that rather, and then they'll come over and say the Hermitage, would you be interested in knowing more about the Hermitage? And you punch the Hermitage, and then it'll come out and give you detailed instructions to how to get there and what it's all about, and the fact that it's the third most visited presidential home in the United States, and a little history on Andrew Jackson and Rachel. If you go further and say, well, I'd like to visit there, you can punch one more button, and the directions actually come out into your hand, and you can tear it off, and then you take it to the Hermitage for a small discount, and they said that was probably the most successful program that had ever been run, and we're doing that at no charge to the Hermitage, and so they're very happy with that.
Were you using the Hermitage as an example of touch-and-go, or does touch-and-go only apply to the Hermitage?
Just an example. Now, the Hermitage, due to the fact that it's a state-owned property, is on there at no cost. But the touch-and-go system is available to hotels, motels, campgrounds, attractions for a nominal fee. That's the way they advertise their business. And we've had great success with the people that are on it. They're very happy with it. And the good thing about it is that most of the people that have advertised over the years, as I have in my businesses, you always wonder whether you're spending your money wisely, and this is not much of a cost. And at the same time, for example, if a place offers a discount, and with the printed page that they tear off, they know exactly where those people came from and where they got the information about their attraction. And so the Hermitage was just an example of that.
You have museums on there too, and
yes.
art galleries in such places, or
Yes.
you probably will have anyway.
Oh, certainly, and right now we have Rock Castle in Hendersonville is on it, and Cragfont in Gallatin, the James K. Polk Home, and a vast array, but that is growing all the time. So over the years we'll have a lot of historical attractions and things that would be certainly very pertinent to the arts on there too. Now, as far as the arts are concerned, in the future, we feel like that's a burgeoning field and something that we can do a lot with. And for the first time, our department's been in touch with Bennett Tarleton and the people at the Arts Commission and talking to them in terms of how can we help. And we have committed to them to spend some of our money in developing a brochure that will be sent out all over the United States, telling people that Tennessee, even though we're proud of Opryland and proud of our music and our mountains and whatever, we have some things that lovers of the arts could enjoy too.
Tennessee Commissioner of Tourist Development, John Wade. This program, Tennessee Kaleidoscope, made possible with the joint support of the National Endowment for the Arts, the Tennessee Arts Commission, and Johnson & Higgins, insurance brokers and employee benefit consultants. This is Lynn Folk.
I was looking through some things that you left behind years before. Remembering the time you said goodbye with the closing of a door.
Sheila Bailey of Harrogate, Tennessee, is a country and gospel singer. Like so many others, her ambition is to be a part of Nashville's Grand Ole Opry or perform at Opryland. This is Lynn Folk, and here on Tennessee Kaleidoscope, Sheila Bailey tells of some of her experiences in auditioning and looking for that big break which will make her a star. She's been singing almost all her life.
I sang in church a lot when I was about 8 years old, and then just came on up. I want to get into the country part of it. I have done a lot of country singing also.
So much to me.
And I play the guitar. It's just strictly by ear. The good Lord gave me an ear for music, but I know by the sound of what I hear. I've paid a fortune in records. I have to go by a record, listen to the sound of it and listen to it, and then I can go and get my guitar and pretty well pick it out.
Have you recorded extensively?
I'm just now getting into it. I made several demos, but that's about it. I've not made any records right now at this time.
Well, what is the procedure when a person wants to get into the country music field? What do you do? What have you done this far?
Well, we bought us a satellite and we watched the Nashville Network an awful lot. And in this program, You Can Be a Star. And they asked us if you were interested to send up 2 songs on a cassette tape and a resume of yourself and a couple of photographs down. And so I sent them down. I got a letter back saying for me to call and make an appointment to come down for an audition.
Were you interviewed and did you audition also?
Yes, I auditioned. They put me on a video. I had to make a soundtrack of the 2 songs that I was going to sing.
Were there many other people doing the same thing?
Oh, yes, there were 30 minutes, different ones.
What do you think your chances are? That's not a fair question.
Well, I'm going to try. Let's put it that way. That way I can say that I always tried anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give it my best shot, put it that way.
Is this the first time you've done anything like this?
I had a chance one time. I was 15 years old. My father owns a restaurant in Harrogate, and I used to sing in the dining room a lot for my father, just me and my guitar. And there was a truck driver came through one day, and his wife worked for this producer that put these shindigs on. And he asked me to go to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, to audition to be on the show. They was having a shindig, and I said, well, sure, I'll go. And I did. And the guy asked me to be on. And I had Loretta Lynn's band, the Coal Miners, back me up. I was 15 years old, and I was in front of a lot of people. I don't know how many thousands were there. And Conway asked my father if I could go with him. But I was only 15 at the time, and he felt that I should finish school.
You mentioned Conway.
Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn.
I see.
And George Jones and Tammy Wynette, and they were all there. It was really an experience of a lifetime.
Now, on Saturday nights, Sheila Bailey is heard singing and playing on a radio station in Knoxville.
WNOX in Knoxville, 99 Proud Country. I play guitar. There's a band behind me and all, from 8 to 11 o'clock on Saturday nights.
Is this one of the shows that maybe has gone on for a number of years?
Oh, yeah, it's been on for years. And like 15 years ago, too, I was on a show called Little Jimmy Hartsook Show.
What would you say about life in Tennessee?
It's great. It's where I was born and raised. Tennessee and the mountains and the hills, that's what I love.
And that's what's contributed so much to your singing, too, and,
yes,
and your career that you hope to get into.
Yes. My mother could really sing and yodel. She was really good. My mother really helped me about my music and everything. But I will say, I hope with the good Lord on my side and helping me, that maybe my dream of getting into the country music will come true.
Country and gospel singer Sheila Bailey of Harrogate, Tennessee. This program, Tennessee Kaleidoscope, made possible by the National Endowment for the Arts, the Tennessee Arts Commission, and Johnson & Higgins of Tennessee, insurance brokers and employee benefit consultants. This is Lynn Folk.